Hi everyone, welcome to this goal setting session. So I don't want to take up loads of time because I think there's some real key points that people need to understand, listen to, and really look into. So without going into loads of depth and technical work, I'm just going to share my screen with you. There we go. I'm just going to go over this little goal setting session with you. So what I'd like you to get from this is a bit more clarity on what you want, understand the purpose of goal setting, and then for you to go away and set some goals. So goal setting, having challenges is really important for us as humans. We know in our workplace that we've got certain levels of goals that are set for us, as in the first one, we need to turn up on time. We need to be there at set times, set days for a set number of days over the week, and we need to complete that. That's a goal. And then depending what you do for work, you might have targets set by other people that you've got to hit and commit to. Now, often people struggle with goal setting because they're not sure how it should look, what they need to set as a target. They don't really know what they want. This is for you, it's for no one else. And this is why it's important to do this on your own. If you're going to set some other goals with your partner, with friends or something, that's really good. But for the purpose of this, just do this for you. So goal setting. I put a point here about happiness. So I'll be happy when we had this conversation in the studio a couple of weeks ago with a number of people who are only going to be happy once they get to their end result. Now, they'd set an end result, but they weren't too sure why they picked it, and they weren't 100% on, what it meant when it got there. So an example would be, I'll be happy once I lose 1 stone. There's no guarantee that when we get to that stone marker, you'll be happy. So we need to flip and reverse this. And while we're doing the whole goal setting process, it's important to start with this bit, which is happiness. So if we can just accept at the start and that we're going to work on being happier and having happiness from the start and being involved in the process, then it makes everything a lot easier. And this ties in with the second point that I've created here, which is people make change in happiness and positivity. You don't see many people that make positive changes when they're feeling moody, upset, stressed, angry, negative. They just come out of an argument or something. If they do, it's often the wrong goal or target that they've set or created. So there's something to think about. Get happy with the process, get happy with where you are right now, and that you're actually choosing to do something about it. And then things become a lot easier. Like your eating habits, for example. So it's not what you eat, it's who you are when you eat it. If we were to slow down, take a minute and eat our food slower in the great company, in a great setting, in a great environment, and good food, how much better do you think you'd feel after eating? The really interesting thing on this is if you've ever been abroad and noticed, like, especially in European countries where people don't necessarily eat great foods, like to France, Italy, Spain, European countries that have the pastries for breakfast, consume lots of coffee, you may be looking at like, how is this a healthy lifestyle to live? But if you look at how they eat, they're sat talking in the groups with their friends in lovely settings and scenarios and environments, and they're eating in a better state and eating in happiness and positivity. So there's a little sidetrack thought for you to think about on this, if your goal is based around eating. So getting stuck into the goal setting part then, pause this, come back to it, make notes on it, but I'd like you to have done something with this rather than just watched it and binned it off. So a goal should be something which is a direction. You don't necessarily have to know exactly where you're going. Your goal should just be taking you towards that. So it's fine if you haven't got a set goal. And if you hear people saying, this is exactly what I want by this day for this reason, that's fine. Don't feel like you've got to match them. As long as you use it as like a compass and a bearing to head in a certain direction as to where you roughly want to get to, then that is fine. So don't get too hung up on this. As long as you're heading in the right direction, it's good. Your goal should be something that excites you and not like, oh my God, I don't know why I'm doing this. This is the worst thing ever. I'm only doing this to please other people, that sort of thing. So yeah, the third point is in line with what you want and not others. By all means, your goals can help other people, as in if it's to be and have more energy, then of course that's going to help and have a knock-on effect with other people in your life. But you're doing this for you. Be selfish. Pick things that you want to achieve. And now that doesn't mean if you've got a family that this means jetting off on a holiday 10 times a year or whatever. Be sensible with it, but be serious with it. And the last one is being achievable, but at a push. And this ties us into the next bit. So we've got three types of goals here. So we've got A, B, and C type goals. A type goals is something you've achieved before and you know you can achieve without a stretch. So let's say if you've lost half a stone, for example, keeping it on weight gets easier. Then if you've done it in the past and you set that as a target, one, it's probably not going to inspire you or excite you. Two, you know you've done it before. And three, you know you can do it easily without too much of a stretch or without any stretch, really. So that is an A-type goal, and we don't really want these. B-type goals, so it's a bit more of a push, and it's something we haven't achieved before. So that could be something different, like I know I can go and run a 5K race, for example, even though I haven't run before, I know I can achieve a 5K run. It's going to be a bit of a push, but it's doable. And now C-type goals, this is where the magic really is in big transformations, big changes, and big results. So we have C-type goals, which are uncomfortable. They push you out your comfort zone, and it's exciting, it's nervous, and there's probably a bit of anxiousness around it as well, because you haven't done it before, you know it's going to push you, and you need to take a step up and operate at another level. So these are the sort of goals that you want to be creating. B-type ones are okay. C-type ones are even better. So setting something that you know is probably a bit like, oh, can I do that? If it makes you question it, that's probably a good thing to dive into and start looking into. So your goals should be something that are uncomfortable. They push you out the comfort zone. It's a big push, not a little bit of a push. It's a big push, but it's something exciting, probably nerve-wracking, and makes you terribly anxious as well. And that's a good thing with C-type goals. These are also known as impossible goals, where it can be something which you think, God, that is a big, big stretch. And just thinking about it makes me feel a bit sick. Impossible goals are things that we shouldn't hit, but we know that if we work really, 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 really hard, we can get close to. That is the sort of thing we're working for on C-type goals. And I've noted some exercises here to help you with these. So we've got desires. So a really interesting exercise to help with this is to say, if me and you were sat down in 12 months' time and you were looking back over the last 12 months, tell me exactly how things look now, what things have changed, what you've done, what you've achieved, what you've stopped doing, and just, yeah, what's changed. So a desires exercise is, what do you desire? Imagine we're in the future looking back, it's 12 months on, tell me exactly how things are now. It's a really good exercise that gets you creative. It gets you in a creative state rather than just thinking, shall I do, oh no, I shouldn't do that. Should I try this? Oh no, what happens if I do that? Do it from a place of in the future, looking back, and it's easier to write down and then review what you've put and see whether that links into what you want. The second exercise, Heaven and Hell Island. So similar to what you want and what you don't want. Get a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, draw a little island on one side, draw a little island on the right side. On the left side, that's your Hell Island. So how does Hell Island look? It's how you don't want to feel. It's what's going on currently, maybe. It's all the things that would be, if you were stuck on a Hell Island, everything that would be on there for you. And then you put on the other side of the paper a Heaven Island. So what you're doing, how things are, how you're feeling, what you have, what you've achieved, all the things that you want. And again, your desires on the Heaven Island. And then we can see, if you want to draw some little sharks in between, then that represents the changeover of the fear and getting out of your comfort zone. Have a look at what's on the Heaven Island and start listing them, and maybe use them as some of your C-type goals. And then 4 little points to finish with. So gain clarity on what you want. Going back to what I put at the top, it's a direction. You don't necessarily need to know 100% exactly what it is. You need to get clear on where you're going. and how that looks. The next one is important. Set commitments to yourself. If you want to set commitments to other people, that's fine. The biggest promises we can make are to ourselves. What does a commitment look like? A commitment is not doing more, feeling better, being more. A commitment is, I am going to do this, I am going to do that, this is going to happen by this date, I am going to do X amount of X by this date. That is a commitment. A commitment is not doing more, being more. It's very, very vague, and it doesn't commit to anything. Have a think about this. This is vital, I'd say. Yeah, daily actions of a long-term vision. If you've got a goal that you want to achieve in 12 months' time, that's great. Let's reverse engineer it. Let's work back. What do you need to be doing every single day without fail? What can happen if we set a 12-month target and leave it there? One, we can either forget about it. Two, if we get tempted to do something that we shouldn't be doing, we'll see it as, oh, it's ages away, so I don't quite need to do it yet. Let's say we're running a marathon. Our marathon's next year. I don't have to run tomorrow because I've still got 11 months. I don't have to run as hard for the next couple of weeks. I can take a break off. If we were to set daily actions, if I want to run a marathon in a year's time, what sort of stuff do I have to be doing daily? Now, these are tiny, tiny micro things, which are easy to do. And this is why psychologically and mentally, it's a lot easier on you because you're setting tiny, tiny actions, which are doable each day. And then when you start rolling them up, and imagine doing them every single day for 12 months, how big of a change would you have got? Lastly, enjoy the process. The stats, there's loads of studies done. If we don't enjoy the process, we're less likely to get there. So that's everything on the goal setting. Get your pen and paper out, do the Heaven and Hell Island, set some B, C type goals, and have a think what it is you want to achieve. It's the 27th of June. We're about to head into the last 6 months of the year. We're about to head into the third quarter of the year. Have a little sit down and think of what it is you want to achieve. Now, if you're still watching and you've got to the end of the video, then well done. Don't not do anything with this. If you're stuck, if you want some help and support, don't know where to start, if you've got some things and want someone to check over with, then message me, reach out to us, and one of us will get in touch with you and we'll give you a 15-minute goal setting session where we'll go over things with you, help set some commitments, and also look at a daily plan for you on micro things that you can get done to get the results that you want. So if you're not sure on what it is you want, if you're just stuck and can't seem to move on, or if you want someone to look over what you've got, that's a reason to reach out to us, message us, and we will go over it with you. Hope you enjoyed that. Make some notes. Do not take action on this.